Yo, 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 we are live. What's good? I see Mr. Xbox Series S is in the building. What's good, fellas?
Already. What's good? What's good?
How you doing?
Excellent.
B Guard representing for the.
Energy, bro. It's like B-Guard just woke up, Snipes being on PC. Why do I have the most
I was
energy?
in here 40 minutes early. Where you just showed up? How is it?
Hey!
I just woke up.
Hey, you have 40 minutes to get yourself hyped up. You know what I'm saying? Why I gotta come in
I was
with all
in
the
here
energy?
doing research for this podcast in here with them. Where
Well,
were you?
We
Research,
ready. The
man.
bottom line
I'll tell you where I was. I was on the beta. I was on Madden 23 beta. Where you
the
at?
bottom
Beta.
line
You on
was
the beta. Okay.
Let's
Okay. I
go.
didn't see you online, Philly guy. I didn't see you.
That's because I'm offline. That's because I'm offline.
Oh, well,
All
who
right,
you
let's-
hiding from? Who you
Stop.
hiding from? Me?
Stop.
Y'all done?
Let's go.
You guys done? You finished or you done?
Thank
Huh?
you.
Huh? You got
Okay.
I think we want the same thing.
you finished? You finished or you done? Yeah, which
Yeah,
one?
we're
Which one?
finished.
Okay.
Both.
Yeah, yeah. You
I'm
know.
not going to say it no more.
All right. Well, look. Franchise mode is now available on the beta. We kind of dabbled into it a little bit. We're gonna give you our thoughts on that today. A lot of franchise information to be found here. I guess you could be looking for it anywhere, but we're gonna have it here for you in one spot, and then we'll also have a breakdown of what we talked about available for you guys on the website tomorrow. So make sure you guys visit maddenunderground.com when you get time. We talked about the AFC North last week. Have that breakdown available for you guys on maddenunderground.com right now. And we'll talk about some more things today. So we're going to talk about the NFC East today as well as franchise mode. So that's going to be actually pretty fun. Lots of fun to talk about with those teams. And we got a great show for you guys today. So, okay, guys, the beta franchise mode. Let's get your idea of what you think about it so far out the way. Let's start with B-Guard. What do you think about it so far, B-Guard?
I will say I am impressed with certain features on it. There are some other features that I think probably need some work. Should I go into that now, or are we going to get to that in the podcast later?
Oh, we'll get to it after this.
Okay, so yeah, like there's a couple features that I am really impressed with, and I really like. There are other things in there that I think I just don't it's just not for me. But overall, I'm actually pretty excited for what it's gonna be.
Okay. What about you, Snipes?
Man, we've been talking, we've been off camera talking pretty much all day.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying, I took a lot of time trying to dive into, this, that, and the third with this, and I'm floored. I'm very happy with what we have seen so far as far as this franchise. Again, you talked about, we're gonna go into it a little bit later on, but I have not been. Let me just say this, and then I'll let Philly go after this. I've not been excited for a Madden game in a long time, and this time, I mean, they have really, for the most part, there's still some things. Obviously, it's a beta, so there's still some things that obviously they have to tweak out. But I have not been so excited for a Madden game in a very long time. I am extremely excited for this game, and very excited to get into franchise modes and everything else. It is superb what they have done so far. It really is.
Okay. What about you, Philly?
Well, let me just say, I hopped on that bad boy yesterday as soon as it popped out, and it was not a happy experience for me because it kept kicking us out, and I'm really glad that they took the time to fix it so that we could jump back into it, because I was really frustrated. I was so excited. I'm checking everything. I'm looking at the rosters. I know our league started early, so we never got a chance to have any of those new scouting features. It's not new if you did it last year, and if you haven't, you should definitely check it out on Madden 22 so you can get familiar with it. But I was ready, man. I was ready to go. I looked at a lot of the new information that they were providing, and like Snipe said, it looks good to me. It didn't look new, but it looked good to me. And based on the way the game has been playing, I'm excited for it.
Okay. I'm happy to hear that, man. I'm happy to hear that you're excited for it.
Are you?
Yeah. I'm excited too. I wanted to start off by saying that I'm geeked up about it. Like B-Gar said, there were certain things that there were things that we kind of recognized early and was like, but for the most part, there's a lot of upside to it. If you played last year, if you compared it to last year, it's a lot more upside to it. But I'm for the most part, I'm okay with the way it is for now as a beta. But let's get into certain things that we noticed. These are a few things that we noticed. We're gonna start with which one do you want to start with? I'll give you guys the choice. You guys want to start with salary cap, retirement, free agency, or scouting?
Let's go. Let's do free agency. Let's do free agency.
Okay, well, let's start with free agency. We all noticed that was the biggest difference in the game so far that we've noticed. It's a lot of different nuances that can be applied to it or that go into it that trickle down from various viewpoints. How do you guys feel about free agency right now after being able to mess with it for a little bit?
Who's going first?
I'll go.
Okay.
So this is probably one of my favorite things that they've added. Like, it's so they added a lot more detail. Like, you can now offer like a team friendly deal, a neutral deal, a player friendly deal, and a highly player friendly deal. Like those, like especially like I think those are coming more into play in like trying to re-sign a guy.
Yeah.
Like you can, and it also like gauges their interest, whether you have like what kind of quarterback you have, what area you live by, like where he's from, wants a winning culture, like some stuff like that. Head coach with a winning resume, like that to me is so awesome. And like that little detail, I love that kind of stuff. And I think it might be the biggest win that they've had in franchise for a minute.
Definitely agree with that. What about you, Snipes?
You obviously mentioned the the contracts and everything else. The 4 different contracts you could put in there, which is great. But a lot of the things that we've been kind of testing out, testing the waters and everything with free agency, it doesn't seem like you're gonna get those, you're gonna get those guys that are just gonna just straight get every single best player on the planet. It doesn't work that way anymore. Like if you live in a cold city, a person that likes to play, in the heat or better weather, they're not going to sign with you no matter what. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you got to think about the situations. You know what I mean? You say, for example, like a Lamar Jackson. If you make a decision to trade Lamar Jackson to a specific team for a bunch of picks or players or whatever it may be, and then Lamar Jackson doesn't vibe with your team, he ain't gonna re-sign with you. You know what I'm saying? So you gave away everything. You know what I'm saying? For one person that doesn't even want to re-sign with you now.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that about free agency. And now it's gonna really make people start thinking, what team am I, when you get to a beginning of a league, what team am I gonna pick first? Yeah, what team am I going to get here? Like, does it make sense for me to get this team when I only got a year left and I got to figure things out with this guy or that guy, whatever? It's really going to start making people really put their GM hats on and really try to analyze what they have to do. I absolutely love it with free agency, what they did. It's a complete home run by EA. Strong J EA for that one. Strong J.
Awesome. Okay. What about you, Philly?
Well, that part right there, not Snipes' reference to Boomerang, great movie, by the way, absolutely love it. But the fact that EA reincorporated a lot of traits for free agency that we saw some in the past, but now everything is connected. So those GM skills have to be there. Brian, we know how much you love talking about salary cap and handling the money and everything else like that. We know that. But now you have to factor in the other players that you have on your team. Yeah, you want to pull off a blockbuster deal, but it may not work out for you. I've always talked about the New York market and talked about what a great place the New York City area is to play in. And now the game has factored a lot of those things in. And I think it's great because you don't know. You don't know where somebody's actually going to end up going. And so the fact that it's possible for somebody to sign a free agent for the fact that they want to be closer to home, or they don't have to pay taxes, or they feel like your team is what they need to get them their ring, or maybe they're the missing piece to get them over the hump and they can start. I mean, it really makes you think, like Snipe said, okay, what am I doing with this team? What can I really do with this team? And it's the game within the game. So yeah, I loved it.
Definitely, and then like they were saying that it's everything now. It goes hand in hand. Like every action has a reaction. Every risk can have devastating consequences. So if you say, for instance, I want to make a trade for Lamar, and you bring Lamar to the Lions. He may not stay for that second. He may not re-sign with you. If in those type of situations, and he might go to free agency anyway. We advanced through the leagues multiple times, and there were players like big name players in free agency, and that brings us to our second point is the salary cap. A lot of teams got a lot of big names, but they don't have the money going in. It's not the first year. You got you good for the first year. If you can win that first year, you fine, but the second year, that may be a problem. Going into that second year when you got to re-sign Derwin James, you got to re-sign Lamar Jackson, you got to re-sign DK Metcalf and things like that. Those guys with these new nuances in the game may not want to stay at home. They may want to go elsewhere and play in better cities. What's up, Jay Douglas? What's good, bro? You might want to play in different cities, do different things, man. And you might be heartbroken. You might say, you pick Seattle thinking DK, you could build around DK, and then after that one season, he want to go. He don't want to stay there no more. Yep. And there's something called what they call them, player tags, Philly.
Player tags.
Yes.
Player tags. These are something that are huge factors in whether or not players stay put or they want to get moved. They want to move elsewhere. What are some of the player tags that you noticed, B-Guard, that you felt like was probably the biggest in the game?
Player tag, like quarterback, like award winner, franchise QB, like that one's probably the biggest one. Like if you have because I played with the Eagles. I started off year one with Jalen Hurts. Team went 7-10. So I saw Lamar on free agency. Like before I signed Lamar, I went and looked at free agency, and almost none of the free agents I wanted were even remotely interested. So then I signed Lamar, and then all of a sudden the interest started
altered.
To peak. Yep, altered. Like now they really want to play for the Philadelphia Eagles, and so having a quarterback, like that's going to be a huge part of the game. And then you have one I noticed is young, a future of the franchise and then day one starter. Like those ones are interesting to me as well. But it's I those little details. Love those little details.
And I'll add to B-Guard's point. And B James, he alluded to this as well too, because he dealt with it a lot in the testing that we've been doing throughout the day today. And that mentorship tag is big as well. And B James, I'll let B James explain it a little bit more to you as far as what he's done with the Titans, because he played with the Titans in it. But it's a prime example. Like that mentorship is huge. There's a lot of guys in franchise mode that will sit there and they'll see a particular quarterback and they'll say, "All right, I'm not going to use this guy. I'm just going to get rid of him." Nah, you can't do that now. You can't do that now. You got to think of your mental now. Now he's got a mentorship tag. If he's got a mentorship tag and you have somebody that's younger, under the wing, now you got to keep that guy there in order to mentor him. So that way you can build the double XP to work with the quarterback you want to work with in the future. So you can't think now that you could just, I could get rid of Tannehill. Again, I'm using your Titans for example.
Yeah.
I'm all of a sudden, I hate Tannehill. I'm going to get rid of Tannehill. Nah, you can't do that now. You can't do that. You got to think, okay, I got Willis, but he's got to get groomed. So let me go ahead and keep Tannehill here while I groom this man and take it from there. You know what I'm saying? But B. James, let me let you explain to them exactly what you did so everybody out there in the chat gets an opportunity to have an understanding of it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I'm really curious, B. Because I thought Tannehill said he wasn't a mentor to Malik, so I want to know how you flip this in franchise.
I don't know, man. He had a change of heart. They gave him the mentor tag, and they actually made him a franchise quarterback at that. So I was like, okay. So he got the franchise quarterback tag. So if you're a Titan fan or you get the Titan in franchise mode in your leagues, Tannehill is a franchise quarterback. EA deemed him as a franchise quarterback. So I'm like, okay, well, he's had multiple winning seasons. I guess you could give him that, right? But at the same token, he has the mentorship tag as well. So you can, if you have a quarterback like Willis and you're developing the quarterback, he's good to have. It's good to keep Tannehill. The thing that comes into play is the salary cap situation. Now you can keep Tannehill for that first season, but if you keep Tannehill after that first season, the salary cap becomes an issue because he's going to be making, I think, between 30 and 35 million the second season. So, but the thing is, you can cut him, and the cap penalty is very small for cutting him after that. That depends on how far you develop the backups. If you develop the backup and you say, you know what, I'm not really worried about that. I just want to get rid of him, free up some money, get some more free agents to help out at different positions. And although you may not have a quarterback that has the franchise quarterback tag or whatever, or trade or whatever, you can still go out. There are still players in free agency that will be interested in your team. So, for instance, Tennessee, they had a no tax. They don't tax in Tennessee for some reason. I don't know what that was about. So a lot of players were interested in playing for Tennessee because of the tax situation, that they would get to keep majority of their money, which I thought was pretty dope that they've implemented in the game. And also is rich history in football and things like that. So it's different things, different little nuances that attract free agents and things like that. But you definitely want to keep those older quarterbacks around for the mentorship. Even not even quarterbacks, DBs, receivers, linebackers. That guy that's taking up a lot of cap. And you're like, man, he's old. I don't need him. Nah, he's very detrimental to the development. It can be detrimental losing them to the development of those young players. So if it's there, they're there for a reason. Help them, let them develop those players, and then when those players are no longer useful, then you can let them go. And when those young players are ready to go ahead and rock with them. But what do you think, Philly? I know you had a lot to say about it too.
I did because we had a lot of conversation about the mental capacity, but the one thing that I really liked was how Zach Wilson, he wasn't a franchise quarterback, but he wasn't not a franchise quarterback. So there was that gray area for him with his tag. Now, Trevor Lawrence, 100% franchise quarterback. But with Zach, even though Flacco was on the team with the Jets and he's the mentor, there was no guarantee that there wasn't going to be a need to replace him. And so when I advanced the Jets forward, it was obvious to me, you got to be hands-on with the Jets. They're a young team and they're rebuilding. They are not ready to go unless you're playing with them and you got a game plan for them, because their record, it wasn't good. And so, you're talking about competing with the Bills, who are that championship team and are that good. You're talking about competing with the Patriots, who are a dynasty organization. And Bill Belichick is going to get love. And then you talk about what Miami is building. We've talked about all the talent that they brought in, and we know that essentially if Tua is not the answer, that essentially they do need a quarterback. So, one of the biggest signings I think for Miami was Teron Armstead. I think he's an amazing player. That's a critical position, obviously, the left tackle. But you're able to see that with a lot of these new features, how you have to plan, and there's consequences if you don't.
Definitely. And it's funny that you speak of the Dolphins because we noticed that Tua did have the future of the franchise tag, but Teddy Bridgewater had that bridge quarterback tag. So that means that you have a quarterback in the meantime that's going to be playing or could be the guy while the guy behind the guy is getting ready.
Yeah,
So,
that's something I have a concern about because, like, let's be real. Like, if the Dolphins had to choose between starting Tua and Bridgewater, they're starting Tua. Like, that's a problem. In my season, when I did mine with the Eagles, Bridgewater was the starter, and I just didn't understand that. Like, because he threw 3 passes the whole year. Tua did in the first year. And so, like, that's a little bit concerning because I don't find that realistic. I don't find it realistic that the Dolphins would start Teddy Bridgewater over the guy they drafted a couple years ago.
Really? Because I actually kind of found that realistic because I feel like it indicates that there's quarterback competition and it's fair. And realistically, whoever's going to give the team the best chance to win. But the only difference is I think that if we're actually picking these teams and we're deciding who's the starter, who isn't the starter, that's completely different than the simulation.
The problem with that logic is the head coach was probably hired because they want Tua to be their guy. Otherwise, they would have traded for Deshaun Watson.
Well,
why was Teddy Bridgewater? Like, why would Teddy Bridgewater being the start? They didn't bring Teddy Bridgewater to be the starter. They brought him in to be the backup.
Well,
no,
I don't think so. I think it's a quarterback competition. But I'm talking about from a Madden.
I promise you guys, it is not a quarterback competition.
From a Madden.
They will start Tua day
from
one.
a Madden perspective, though. We're talking about from Madden perspective. Real life, I don't know what the hell they got going on.
That's from a Madden perspective. That's different. But
that's what we're talking about, Madden.
So the thing is, we argue about Madden not being realistic or not being a simulation to NFL football. And I tell you, they're not gonna just bench Tua the start of the year unless he is just so he just forgets how to throw the ball. That's literally the only thing that's going to keep him barring injury.
But he has had his moments where you question you're going to question what's going on with him. You know what I'm saying? Hence the reason why you bring a guy like Bridgewater in. Now you got somewhat of a competition. You know what I mean?
And then from a Madden perspective,
but if your player can't beat Teddy Bridgewater, then you don't really have a quarterback.
I don't know. Teddy been a starter.
Yeah, this is Bridgewater's what? This is Bridgewater's what? 5th team in 5 years?
Yeah, but that's not a reflection of him. But in Madden,
that's pretty
again,
to me.
Well, I mean, you can say that, but again, we're talking Madden, and these aren't even the final rosters. So we don't even know what's going to happen in training camp. We don't know if Tua's going to get hurt because you mentioned before, barring injury. Some people, when they play franchise, they turn the injuries on. In our league, we don't have the injuries on. But if you did, and he's not performing, or you're just a single man, franchise mode, that's the type of realism that you want.
I promise you, as a player, as a franchise, as someone who would take the Dolphins, Tua's gonna have the job till I say he doesn't have the job.
Well, that's where the Madden implement come in because you're a user, you're in control of that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You're in control of that. Now, if for some reason that he's not the guy, then Bridgewater becomes the guy until you find the guy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what that bridge part is he's the guy. He's gonna be the guy until you find the guy. If you don't have the guy.
But I don't feel like Teddy Bridgewater would be the bridge in Miami. I feel like he would have been a bridge in Carolina where he was at, or
that's
Denver.
where he was. He's been a bridge everywhere he's been.
Hence the name Bridgewater.
I mean, he's basically been a bridge everywhere he's been. He's been a bridge.
I feel at this point of his they brought him in to be a backup. Otherwise, they brought in Jacoby Brissett. Is he he might be the starter, but it ain't because he's gonna win the job from Watson.
Well, yeah, I mean that's real life, but in real life you don't get XP points and you don't get points for having a mentor. They don't tag you like that. Everything you're saying is true for real life, but in Madden,
in
And
Madden,
the way that all that ties
but, like,
together,
in a
I mean,
sim,
it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
no, in a
It's a good
simmed environment, I feel like Tua should be the starter because Tua's going to be the starter in real life. They're
Okay.
gonna see what they have with Tua. That's all I'm saying.
We got a
Okay.
question. We
But
got
I
a question.
wasn't
We
trying
got
to
a
argue with
question.
you about
We got
Tua.
a,
I
we
was
got
just
a,
talking about
we got a
the
question
types.
in the chat.
Right.
It says, "Is mentoring more important than the stats?" And in my opinion, no.
No.
No, it's not.
I think it helps. I think it helps get that. I think it helps get that position
Develop.
ready,
Yeah.
developed faster. Like that's
XP
all it
boot.
does. That's
Yeah,
what it
it's-
does.
it's-
Yeah. That's
Boost.
exactly what it's for. It's for that boost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To
Yeah, but
to
I
get those
feel like
positions.
I feel like a mentor can't just be like some Joe Schmo who never had success in the NFL. Like one of the guys I saw was Trevor Siemian, and he didn't have a tag. Like, what's he gonna teach your first overall pick?
Right.
Well,
every
actually-
player doesn't have the tag.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
I feel
So,
like
all
you
right,
have to
so-
have some sort of an accomplished career. Like
Well,
Joe
not-
Flacco is probably one of those examples. Like he's won a Super Bowl, and so he gets the mentor tag.
Well, so from what I saw, and it remains to be disproven, but from what I saw, if you've been in the league for 10 years, you got the mentor tag. So when I advanced it, I looked at people that had been in the league for 9 years, and when they hit that 10th year, they got the mentor tag. So it seems like it's 10 plus years, and you get the mentor tag. Now, if there's other qualifiers for it, I didn't see it based on the stats of the players that I looked at. But I mean, you're in the NFL.
I have
You
a
know, and
question about
I
that.
don't
Is
know
that-
how much detail they're going to have.
Is that 10 straight years on a roster, or 10 straight years just being in the NFL, but you were only on a roster for like let's say 7?
It was so. I'll give you an example. So it was 10 years in the league because Star Lady was in free agency, and he got picked up, and then
10 years for 10,
he was back in there again. So he was in his 10th year after I advanced.
Oh, I was like, it's been that long?
Yeah, it's been pretty long.
Lately?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, these guys,
Yeah. And some of the guys retired too. So
yeah, and that brings up my next thing is that a lot of guys don't make it to the second season. A lot of guys don't make it out. Like it's a lot of teams that a lot of people are gonna go out there and go pick up, and they're gonna like, oh, I got this team ready to go, and you better be ready. You better use that mentor tag to start developing them backups because it may not go as planned. It may not go as planned. It's just you got this guy, he's the guy, but you also want to make sure the guy behind him is prepared to go because a lot of these, like I said, a lot of these quarterbacks, it will surprise you. A lot of players, I'm going to say quarterbacks, just players, don't make it to the second season. And then when you get to that second season, even more players don't make it to that third season.
And I will say too that Philly is absolutely right in regards to the mentorship because year 9 for Derek Carr, he was not a mentor. When that 10th year hit, I'm looking at it right now in mine. He's a franchise quarterback / mentor now.
yeah, and to your point, Brian, it's true. Someone will retire. Like I looked at the reason why Star came up was one because he was in free agency. Because I had the same questions that you did, B-Guard. I was like, let me see, is this like an automatic trigger or do they have goals they got to meet? Because the Steelers had, was 2 people I was looking at. Brandon Williams, okay, defensive tackle for the Steelers. They had him on there. Rated, I think he's like 86 overall, whatever. I know it's not real, but he ended up retiring, and they brought in Star. Right? They signed Star out of free agency, the following year. So, it was interesting how I was looking at Brandon, and then he was going to hit his 10th year. He retired, and then Star actually hit his 10th year, and he ended up being the replacement. So that showed me that the Steelers were not able to sign a free agent, and they were going to build through the draft, and they had a mentor, and they filled the position. And it was just going to be important to develop because their strategy in the real world, they usually draft linebackers. Takes about 3 years, right? And then they're ready to go. Mm-hmm. So, I felt like that was very realistic in terms of, what we've seen organizations do.
And I'll say real quick, B. James, 'cause I know you probably want to move on here, but I just want to give a prime example, like in the league that I'm doing here, like the Seattle, right? This is the second season. So Seattle, they drafted a QB. They were actually a day one. It was a day one starter franchise QB, right? But then on top of that, they still have Drew Lock on there, They call him a trade target. Okay. Then they also have Jimmy Garoppolo on there, and he is a mentor. So now what's going to happen is what's going to end up happening is they'll end up keeping Jimmy Garoppolo on there because he's a mentor, and he's going to help out the Dwight Kendricks, which is the franchise day one starter. Is still going to help him boost his attributes even more. You know what I mean? And then once that's done, then you could get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. So that, you know, that's just a fun fact. I'm just taking a look at it, and it's something that again we talked about earlier. We all gonna have to really think about what teams we want to have and what teams we want to use with the money and everything else. We're gonna have to put the caps on.
Based on what I've seen, you want to get you a young guy and you want to have an old guy to help you develop that young guy.
Yes.
So if I think that like a good situation is Kirk Cousins. You know what I'm saying? You got Kirk Cousins there. You got Kellen Mond there. If you're trying to you want to develop Kellen Mond because he has the stronger arm and things like that, great. But you want to keep Kirk Cousins on the roster for that mentorship purpose. I know he's making a lot of money, and people are like, man, I can't have that money though. I need to get rid of that money. You know, so if that's the case, after that money situation is situated, get rid of the money and then go ahead and figure out what you want to do with the young guy. But I recommend that you keep an old guy. Me personally, I'm gonna keep an old guy at every position. So we're gonna have an old geezer, and then we're gonna have some young tenders, and then we're gonna let them go out there and rock, and it's gonna happen. But definitely keep you a couple geezers on your squad because they're gonna help develop those young guys on the team. You know, so definitely.
Okay, first of all, OG doesn't stand for old geezers, and second of all, I'm calling you out because Snipes didn't want to say nothing. I saw that twinkle in his eye though. You try to be real slick.
What you mean?
You trying to talk about the Minnesota Vikings again, and everybody knows that you're a Tennessee Titans fan, but you use them as an example when you could have used anybody else. You could have talked about the Titans, but no, you want to talk about your Minnesota Vikings again. So I'm just calling you out right now because you tried to be slick with it. You try to slip that in there.
I'm just saying. I like the Vikings on Madden 23. That's just a team I like to play with. That's a team I've been playing with frequently. I've been playing with them when I play the Titans. So I like those edge rushers. You got two edge rushers. You know, it's a problem in the game. But not to mention, but one of the few things that we didn't like about the beta version of franchise mode was the scouting. That was you know, in my opinion. I know a lot of people say, oh, you know, it's kind of more realistic. No, and it's not. It sucks.
It's really not.
It's not.
It's not. It's not.
It's not. Whatever. I don't know the direction. Last year, we waited around for it until we didn't wait around for it. And I was glad we didn't wait around for it because it was just something that I thought was a bunch of extraness that wasn't necessary. It wasn't something that was going to keep you preoccupied and say, you know what, this is going to keep me on the game longer and I'm going to enjoy this. No, it was annoying to deal with. It wasn't even easy to maneuver through the menus on like that part. That I think that's this maneuvering through the menus can make something a lot more difficult than it has to be. Just the way you guys put the menus together in certain situations and instances. That part I didn't like. I didn't like the menus for it. I didn't like the way you had to. It was too much. It was too much, and it didn't serve a purpose. What's good? Calhoun Savage 47. What's good, bro? But yeah, it was a lot of different things that I felt like that weren't necessary. They weren't necessary components, but they could have been. They could have used something else or implemented something else in that spot or in that place and left the old scouting there. I didn't have a problem with the old scouting. I thought they could have allowed you to see more things.
If they had the old scouting along with like the combine and then like the info, that'd be fine.
That'd be
like
fine.
The way that like it's literally like look, I feel like you're doing less with the players. Like you're getting more details on 3 players, and like that's just like that to me is like less realistic. Because if you think that NFL teams are only doing homework on 3 players, something's wrong with your scouting department.
Yeah, I mean that's why I mentioned before, even though we're talking about it now. Our league started before that was implemented, and so if you go to Madden 22, you can look at it. It's very similar, almost identical. You know, they jazz it up a little bit, threw stars in there instead of the tiers, but a lot of maneuvering, maybe it's something that they could have put into the owner mode instead of the coaches mode, because those are really more GM capabilities. And since I haven't used it in a competitive league, I can just agree with you guys that it is very cumbersome, but I think it kind of is out of place. It should have been with the GM section, because I feel like once you get to those levels of details, you need to do that. But as a coach, you should be focusing on the players. You should be focusing on your assistant coaches, different schemes. And then you should have access to, like we talked about before, using your scouting points to unlock a lot of the information that you can get, through the new scouting process. But I just don't think that the right place for the scouting program is coming in as a coach. I just don't.
Definitely.
I won't even go too long into this, because obviously, we are talking about per beta. But what I'll say is that, I definitely wasn't happy with it right now. And, the looks of it, the feel of everything right now, and B. James alluded to, which was actually absolutely perfect on the money, when he said that about the menus themselves. It's just bad.
It's blocky
right
like
now.
it's like real.
It's not a good look at all. So right now, I'll reserve even further judgment until the final product comes out. But right now, we understand it's a beta. So again, give benefit of doubt, because listen, at the end of the day, look, EA's made a pretty decent product right now when we talk about the beta. They have not done bad at all with this one. It's been very good. But again, the scouting thing is just not up to par right now, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of people frustrated with like we want coaching carousels and we want more deep. I'm like, look, we get it, nerd. We get it. All right. But what I'm saying is like, me personally, I just want a game that functions. Like, if we can once we get the game functioning, then we can add all the different little nerdy things that you like, adding the different flavors of Gatorade in the locker room. You know what I mean? We can add that later. You know what I'm saying? But lemon lime and fruit punch can wait while they focus on.
Please, what are you talking about?
While they get those things situated. I get it. A lot of people I go through the franchise blogs, and I see everybody going back and forth. We need coaching carousels. We need more detail. And then you say,
they put some more detail in there. They got untucked jerseys now. They got different sleeves. They got different things like that.
But it's not. It's but to the more detail guy.
There's just some people that just will never be pleased.
No, they won't.
That's just a reality that I feel like EA is gonna face at one point, because they're gonna put that in. They'll put the coaching carousel in, and then it's gonna be something else, and then they're gonna do that something else, and it's a never-ending cycle with those kind of people.
Now, see that again. That is not fair, because, like I said, everything has a time and a place. That's why I said I think it should be in the GM section if you want to come in as an owner, because for a lot of guys that don't have the opportunity and they haven't registered at madunderground.com to get into the leagues, they're going to be playing by themselves, and they want to have that type of realism. And again, I respect it. Everybody that wants to add something to the game, they definitely have a right to have it. I'm on board, as you all know, with the gameplay first over everything else. But if they put it in the GM mode, that's great. That's where it should belong, and that's where you get into details. But when you talk about competitive gaming and you have multiple dudes in the league, it's too much.
No, but the crazy part about that, though, Philly, is the guys that are screaming for that are the guys that are playing with like two buddies and they're playing by themselves, and they want more detail. They're playing 15-minute quarter games.
Yeah, and my thing is,
it's not that,
and my thing is like, yeah, great, you can want those, but like, are you going to be happy? Like, is that what's going to make you happy, or are you going to go on to another thing and then still be unhappy? Like, great, I'm all for like more details. Like, I like that stuff, but there are types of people who just want to be unhappy because that's what makes them happy.
Yeah, it's better for them to complain than to actually say, you know what, we didn't get this, but we did get that, and this is better than what we had
Yep.
before. You know, and they
Yep.
say, well, that's not a good consumer approach. And I'm like, well, look, sometimes everything is progress. If there's no progress, then you never reach perfection without progress.
Yeah,
You know,
Exactly.
like this is how we got to this point with franchises. There was no progress, and then Twitter did its thing, and then there was so many complaints, and EA's now putting
exactly,
the focus
Calhoun.
on franchise.
Hey, we've done it here before. We've complained here about things
No,
before.
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And some things they've listened to us and made it happen. Other things they have not. For example, you know what I'm saying? Like I want to see. That's what I want to see. But when is that gonna happen? I don't know.
Well, hopefully it'll happen after you go to the doctor and get that checked out. I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was. You know what I'm saying? You could at least came with the sound wave, with the sound wave joint, you know, with the echo. You know what I mean? But I'm like, yeah, we not making a Kendrick Lamar album right now. That's after the show's over with. But again, you guys are 100% right. But hey, we're not gonna pick on nobody. We got other good stuff to talk about. So what we got to get into, B. James?
We got to talk about them retirees, right?
We got to talk about the retirements, man. A lot of retirements were very, very, very interesting. You know, some of the names we saw. We go over just to name a few. Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
After one season,
guys.
I think he made it to 2 in mine.
Yeah. So you only gonna get 1 or 2 out of them. Tom Brady is only giving you 1 or 2. So he gave me 1. He gave Snipes 2.
No, he gave me 1. He gave me 1.
No, Brady.
Tom.
Oh, so
Tom Brady gave me
retired.
2.
Yeah, Brady retired.
Tom Brady gave me 2.
Okay, Brady gave you 2. He gave me 1. He gave B-Guard 1, right?
Yeah, I got 1 from Brady, 2 from Rodgers.
Okay. So yeah, you're gonna get 1 or 2 out of those guys, and that's kind of expect. That's a gimme. But I recommend that you do your homework and make sure you get a team. And if you get a team with a quarterback, an older quarterback, make sure you start grooming that young guy. Focus on with the staffing points. Focus on quarterback-related staffing points. Make sure one of your 3 key players is the backup quarterback because you want to develop those guys ASAP because you're not gonna have a lot of time with the old guy. It's like you want to spend as much time as you can.
And that's not counting the dudes who just up and quit because you a loser. Like,
that's
not
I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if that's a thing. This year, I know last year dudes would just up and quit if you just sucked at the game. All right, thanks. Appreciate you, Mr. Xbox Series S, man. Thanks for registering, man. One reason I guess he was late to the discount double check. that may have been one of the reasons why, man. But yeah, it's a lot of players that are going to be dropping off the face of the earth early. Linemen are one of those guys.
Linemen are big time retirement.
And one thing I do like is that the regression. A guy will quit before he regresses.
Yeah,
that I actually like. I would rather a guy.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate that. A dude that just what I'm out. I don't have.
I think that's one of the reasons why like you again talking about your Vikings here. Harrison Smith, he retired after only 11 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like I mean I shouldn't say only, but still like 11 years. That he's still retired and he didn't regress. So he just up jump and just bounced, you know what I'm saying? But I have noticed too though that there was a few kickers and punters that actually retired after like 8-9 seasons.
Yeah.
And this is a kicker and a punter. They typically go freaking 16, 18 seasons at least. And these cats are going after 8 seasons. So just be careful.
Yeah, and to Brian James' point before, I mean, all of it is interconnected. So from what I saw, it's like, okay, younger people were drafted or the team was going in a different direction or, they got to the point where they weren't the focal point of the offense. Like all of those factors, were
all key factors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, that's nice to see. Again, we don't have control over that, unless we're actually playing with the teams and we're able to have success with them. But to me, that's a relevant feature because, like you said, Snipes, kickers and punters are usually around, 15 years, but I talked about Brandon Williams earlier. I mean, he was 86 overall. Then, he was gone. 10th year, he's out. He's done. Maybe it's all the wear and tear from being a defensive tackle in the league, and because I'm pretty sure there were offers on the table, but that is refreshing to see in the game.
Okay, we got about 15 minutes left. We're gonna talk about this NFC West. I mean NFC East, I should say. NFC East. Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, Commanders. That name just sounds weird amongst those names. Commanders.
It does. It really does. I still haven't gotten used to it yet.
Yeah. So
I'd rather call them football team, to be honest.
Yeah, football team. Honestly, so it's like Eagles, Giants, Commanders,
call them
Cowboys.
Call them Washington. That's it.
Cowboys. But it is what it is. Me personally, I like the Cowboys in that division. Not as the best team in the division. In my opinion, I think the Eagles are the best team in the division. They have the most talent, the most speed, anything. But I do like the Cowboys a lot because they do have great pieces. They have a solid. They have the best quarterback in the division. Not if you're simming through a franchise, because Carson Wentz is the best quarterback in that division, obviously.
Oh my God, dude won MVP in mine.
But Carson Wentz, I think Carson Wentz may have the strongest arm in that division. And I told you guys earlier, that's the most important thing. So, I think if you're looking from a quarterback standpoint, I think Dak, Wentz, you could go either or with those two. But I like the Cowboys. Cowboys have a lot of pieces. Not only do they have a lot of pieces, they have a lot of depth at certain positions. You got Pollard, you got Zeke. You got the tight end. You got a lot of receivers now. Even though they lost Amari Cooper, I think they did a lot in the offseason to make up for losing them. You got Gallup. You still got what's his name? What's the receiver? Judy.
No.
Judy? What's his name? The other receiver.
You talking about CeeDee Lamb?
CeeDee Lamb. I think they came out the same draft. You got Lamb.
Oh, yeah.
You got Gallup. You even got Washington from Pittsburgh that came over. I think is gonna have a great breakout year as a Cowboy. He's probably one of the most slept on receivers on the team because nobody's talking about him. But I think he's a good receiver that came from Pittsburgh. They didn't utilize his talent or his skill set. I think he's gonna be great with the Cowboys. So I think that's a team to watch out for. They got a lot of great pieces. Defense is solid. A lot of good linebackers. A lot of good fast DBs now. They got a good group of secondary players and edge rushers. They still got Lawrence. They still have Parsons, and they also drafted a lot of great players too. They drafted one of the fastest edge rushers in the draft. So I think that's you add that with Parsons, that's gonna be a problem. So I think it's gonna be a great opportunity to see what these Cowboys can do, man. So that's I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. I'll let B-Guard take over from here. What do you think about? He's gonna be talking about the Eagles. So tell us about those Eagles, man.
So the Eagles, obviously got good speed. Their line is pretty good, even though they are pretty old. Jason Kelsey's old. Lane Johnson is old. They got a good defense. The safeties are pretty slow for the Eagles. The pass rush is good. They got a young player in Jordan Davis. They got Nakobe Dean. The corners are really good. They got Bradbury. They got Slay. They got Maddox.
Big play Slay.
Yeah, those are good. But I would have to give the edge to, for only 1 year, the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Dallas Cowboys are probably the best team for Madden in the NFC East because of the quarterback. It's just that quarterback's that important. Like I said, I had to trade Jalen Hurts when I simmed in Madden 23. I had to trade him. He just didn't get it done. And yeah, and then the Giants, I think is the worst team to use in the division just because they're clearly rebuilding. I don't think they know what they got with Daniel Jones. I think this might be the last year he's there. And then Washington, Washington has speed. Plus they have two really good ends in Montez Sweat and Chase Young. Mm-hmm. And that front seven's really good. So if I had to put them in order, I would go Dallas, Philadelphia, Washington, and New York.
Okay. What about you, Philly?
Yeah, we definitely gonna. I thought you was gonna have B-Guard and Snipes go since they're teams in the NFC East. Thought you was gonna have them go last, but I'm actually gonna go with the Commanders, and the reason why I'm gonna say the Commanders is because we know that defense has been tough, and we know that they just needed a quarterback. So I feel like if you're a fan of the Commanders or the Redskins or the football team, whatever you want to call them, if you're a fan of them, Blaze, I'm talking to you. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's a team that somebody that's a fan can do work with, because they definitely have the defense. They have weapons. You pretty much know what skill players that they need on offense in order to be successful. They have a couple of assets they can trade. Yeah. But, for that reason, like I said, I feel like they're not in the rebuilding mode that the Giants are, but the Cowboys are the ready-made team. The Eagles are better than the Commanders right now, but I feel like the Commanders, they have that potential. And we already talked about the arm strength and how important that is. So you already know. Dallas is in a win now mode. Giants are in a rebuild mode. Philadelphia is amazing. They keep just pulling rabbits out of their hats every year, and they just keep reinventing themselves. So, you don't know what's going to happen with that. But I feel like the Commanders, now that they have Carson Wentz, he's got the throwing power. They have the potential to, at least in a franchise mode, they have the potential, I think, to. I
think we should make that clear.
Maybe 2 or 3 years in the NFC East.
It's definitely Madden related.
That it's Madden related.
It
has
nothing to do with real life. Nothing to do with real life.
That is correct.
Speaking from a Madden perspective only.
Yeah, it's strictly Madden, and it's the reason why if you ask me who's the best team, I'm gonna go Philadelphia. In the division, all that speed at the wideout, and obviously it's going to depend upon the user too, but all that speed at the wideout, and not to mention, and again, we're just talking per beta that we have played. We know things are going to change, but we're talking per beta that we have played. The heat coming from the Eagles, defensive line. You can't, and we talked earlier, we've talked off air about, you having to step in the pocket because of the heat coming from the outside. So you got to step into the pocket. It's pretty productive when you do that. But now you got Fletcher Cox in the middle. So now you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Now you can't really step in the pocket. So it's just overall to me, I feel like the Eagles, Madden wise, are the better team, just because Madden, we all know Madden is all about speed. You talked about Darius Slay. He's a monster. I played the Eagles so many times in this beta, and everybody's just bringing heat. You know why? Because you got guys like Darius Slay out there. Throw a bad pass, it's getting picked off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's simple as that. So they're bringing heat like crazy. And people are sleeping. I don't know why, but why are people sleeping on Hassan Reddick's speed on the edge? He kills me every time I play. You know what I mean? A lot of times I gotta double a man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So Madden wise, I think the Eagles are the best team in the division. Giants, bar none, bottom of the barrel. And it's a toss-up to me between Washington and Dallas. But you got to give Dallas a slight edge because of the QB situation, in my opinion.
And I see Armand26 is saying that franchise mode sounds good. Let's hope they get it right. Plus, with the add-on scouting system, we'll see. We'll see. If you haven't played the beta, it's available on the beta right now. You can test out franchise mode. I think everything about the beta, about the franchise mode, is pretty good. I just think they need to tighten up the scouting situation or figure out what they want, the direction they want to go in, and strictly go into that direction. But yeah, I if you're trying to make it fair, you kind of handicapping everybody because everybody's looking at the same 5 players. So you can put your scouts in different regions and stuff like that. But ultimately, when they see that mock draft come out, everybody's gonna start reaching for those players on that mock draft. So I don't know, but we'll see how it all pans out. We'll drop another report on a more detailed analysis on the NFC East on the Madden Underground website, along with what we talked about today. And you guys can check that out at maddenunderground.com. Be sure to check that out. That'll be available tomorrow. Also, we will be bringing back the Madden Underground Fast Money tournaments in January. I mean, not January, July. I'm tripping.
Jeez.
She's like, geez.
Like, wow, that's a serious break.
It's a super break. No, July. We'll be bringing these tournaments back in July. We'll have those roll into Madden 23. and we'll do something special for the release of Madden 23 as well. Me and B-Guard talked about that. We got to do something special for the Madden 23 release. So we'll have something special planned for you guys as well. But make sure if you haven't registered at MaddenUnderground.com, go register at MaddenUnderground.com. It said Madden needs to continue to build franchise every year and don't take away. Exactly. That's all I'm asking. You don't have to add everything in 1 year. Just add a little something every year. I think that's the best way to do it.
The worst thing you can do is try to add a bunch of stuff and then it all doesn't work.
All doesn't work, and I think that's what happened last year. They tried to implement too much, and nothing was working right. So, I think if they just slowly make sure everything works, the stuff they already have works, and then add a little something to it. Free agency, I love free agency. I think that's the best. I think that's the breadwinner. It's gonna be the breadwinner in franchise mode. It's gonna be the thing that everybody looks forward to and enjoys the most. I know the draft situation is and everybody wants to enjoy the scouting. I think the scouting is going to be what it's going to be. If you like the fact of flying blind and hoping that the guy that you scouted high is going to play to that potential, then that's cool too, But I would much rather know what I'm getting myself into and have a more of a detailed approach and being able to scout in that situation. But we'll be back next Wednesday. Make sure you keep it locked. Hit that like, that follow, that subscribe button wherever you may be viewing from. If it's YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, make sure you guys hit that like. We appreciate your viewership. We're trying to do more things. We'll be doing more things, to say the least. Will Colin Kaepernick be in Madden 23? I didn't see him in Madden 23.
Nope. I think he will be, though.
Yeah, I think he will be. He should be. I didn't see him in the beta.
He has a deal with EA, I believe.
Yeah, so he should be in there in some capacity. But yeah, make sure you guys check us out next week. We'll be here. We go live. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you guys know when we go live. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that follow button if you know when we go live on Twitch and on Facebook. We'll see you guys next Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and we'll be talking about what division y'all want to talk about next week.
Do the AFC East.
AFC East. We'll do the AFC East next week. That should be interesting. I like the Patriots.
And there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you.
So make sure you guys keep it locked. Look out for that article tomorrow, and we'll be back. We'll be back next week. See you guys soon.